So what if the path to wealth wasn't about playing it safe? What if it was all about embracing risk? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive philosophy for getting rich. It was put together by this secretive group of Swiss speculators who used to meet on Wall Street right after World War II, and they called their rules the Zurich Axioms.
Let's just kick things off with their core belief, a statement that pretty much shatters conventional wisdom. Nobody ever got rich on a salary. For them, a salary wasn't a path to security. It was a comfortable trap. Sure, it's how you make a living, but they were convinced it was never the way to make a real, life-changing fortune. So that begs the question, right? How do you break out? If a steady job and a savings account aren't the answer, then what is? Well, these Swiss speculators, they believe they had found the way. And it all starts by completely rethinking the whole idea of financial security.
All right, first up, let's talk about what they saw as the single biggest obstacle, the salary and savings trap. You know, it's the path we're all taught to follow, the safe route, but they argued it was actually a direct road to financial mediocrity.
And you can really see the two mindsets clashing right here. The conventional path, it's all about security, a steady salary, and safe savings. But the Zurich path, that champions adventure, active speculation, and calculated risk. It's a fundamental shift, you see. You go from a life spent trying to avoid loss to one spent actively chasing a huge gain.
And this story, well, it just drives the point home perfectly. You've got two friends, sober Sylvia. She put her money in safe places, like savings accounts. And yeah, she felt secure, but inflation slowly ate away at her wealth. She stayed middle class. Then you have adventurous Mary. She put her money at risk in the market. Was she frightened sometimes? Absolutely. But she also had an adventure. And she became wealthy.
Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of their whole strategy, a philosophy of risk. This wasn't about being reckless. It was about understanding that risk is the engine of wealth, and then learning how to manage it. And they didn't just keep this stuff in their heads. Note, they codified their philosophy into what they called the Zurich Axioms, 12 profound, almost mysterious rules for taking and managing risk. They basically saw all of life as a gamble, and they figured the only sensible way to live is to not run away from risk, but to deliberately expose yourself to it and to play to win.
Okay, so get this. Their very first rule flips everything on its head. It says worry is good. It's a sign of health. It means you have meaningful stakes in the game. Think about it. If losing an investment wouldn't even bother you, then winning it probably won't change your life either. That feeling of anxiety, that's just the price of admission for a shot at real wealth.
You know, the legendary speculator Jesse Livermore, he nailed it when he said this. He totally understood that worry was just part of the job. It was the trade-off for not staying poor. He accepted it, he even embraced it, as a necessary part of his success. Now take a look at this number, $500. It might not seem like much today, but back in 1916, this was pretty much the entire life savings of a young speculator named J. Paul Getty. And he didn't play it safe. He bet almost all of it on a single, super risky oil lease. Now that was a meaningful amount, an amount that definitely had him worried.
And that one meaningful risk, that one worry-inducing bet, became the foundation of his billion-dollar fortune. Just like he said, it gave him the possibility of getting somewhere interesting. The possibility. The hope. See, that's what a meaningful risk really buys you.
Okay, so you're on board with taking risks. Great. But how do you actually, win? That brings us to the practical side of things. The rules for winning more and for losing less. Now, this next one is going to sound crazy, and it's all about tackling greed. The biggest mistake amateurs make is holding on to a winning investment for way too long, just hoping to squeeze out every last drop. The Swiss say you should always sell too soon.
And the method is beautifully simple. First, before you even start, you decide what profit you're aiming for. Second, when you hit that target, you get out. That's it. No second guessing, no waiting to see if it'll go just a little higher. You take your win and you walk away.
And on the flip side of greed, you've got this pitfall of false hope. When an investment turns against you, the absolute worst thing you can do is just sit there and pray for it to turn around. The axiom is blunt. Jump. Get out. Immediately.
What this really means is you got to cut your losses early and you got to be decisive about it. The real key is to accept small losses cheerfully, almost like they're just a cost of doing business. Because taking a small, manageable loss is the only way to protect yourself from a truly catastrophic one.
All right, let's get to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the biggest mindset shift of them all. The Zurich Axioms teach that you have to abandon the search for patterns and predictions and instead learn to see the world of money for what it really is: chaos.
This one is what the source calls the Emperor Axiom, and it is a big one. It says that the world of money is fundamentally chaotic. And the real danger isn't the chaos itself. It's when you start seeing patterns that aren't actually there. That's the moment you make these huge, disastrous bets because you're convinced you found some secret formula for the future.
And this trap, this illusion of order, it shows up everywhere. You've got the historian's trap, the idea that the past is a perfect map for the future. Then there's the chartist's illusion, where you convince yourself those random squiggles on a stock chart are secret messages. And of course, the gambler's fallacy, that dangerous feeling that you're on a hot streak. All of them are just dangerous mirages.
So here's the bottom line. You don't win by trying to forecast the future. You win by staying nimble and reacting intelligently to what's actually happening in the present. It's all about being responsive, not trying to be a psychic. Which brings us right back around, full circle, to J. Paul Getty. His words just perfectly sum up the entire Zurich philosophy. Risk isn't just about money. It's about creating the possibility of a different future. It's about creating hope.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? Whether you realize it or not, just by earning, saving, and spending money, you're already in the game. The question the Zurich Axioms force us to ask is this: are you just playing it safe, hoping not to lose? Or are you playing to win?